Hello, here we go on with the ideas section. What I'm going to do here is do a presentation that goes into the future, and then we'll come back again to the present. It's going to fire off articles from the Telegraph Co UK, but basically the information is pertinent for the Western world, and I'll interject little things where and when I think it necessary. It should all fall into place as a presentation because I've arranged it to do so. Okay. Sir Mervyn King, who is the Governor of the Bank of England, says no recovery until banks recapitalise. The British economy will not recover until the banks own up to their bad debts and are recapitalised again, the Governor of the Bank of England has warned. Now, this is the UK banks that are still in bad shape, still half owned by the government. European banks most certainly are in similar situation of bad capitalisation. We can say that the US banks have been recapitalised to a greater degree, but it's only to the pre-crisis levels, and those pre-crisis levels were very, very small indeed. So they're capitalised, but to a very small degree. Let's say 8%, when many people are calling, basically say, why should they not be capitalised up to 25, 30, 40%? Anyway, so we've got that idea. Philip Aldrich, who's writing the article, raising the prospect of rights issues or even another taxpayer bailout for the state-backed lenders, Royal Bank of Scotland and Lloyds Banking Group. Sir Mervyn King said UK banks have insufficient capital to protect against undeclared losses on their books. Okay, just to repeat there. He has also ruled out, and this is quite important, this is a different, we're moving on now. He has also ruled out suggestion that the bank should try to boost growth by simply giving public cash. Okay, that would be a helicopter drop. That is what we're talking, helicopter drop. And for the moment, he's ruled out giving the public cash. He's ruled out helicopter drops. Or cancelling the government debt it has bought through quantitative easing. The central banks have bought from the outside world. In this case, it's UK, so it's mainly government bonds, which are gilts in the United Kingdom, but around the world they're called different things, treasuries. Taken new money and swapped it over for the bonds out there in the outside world. So the outside world were happily holding bonds. The central bank says, well, I'll pay you a bit more for your bonds, and you go, oh, all right then. And then you've got cash, but you are holding bonds because you wanted to hold bonds. So the chances are you've got the cash, you'll just go and buy more bonds. And you haven't made anything, no more money has been created. Moving on. Now this is a big moving on. The Telegraph, again, IMF's epic plan to conjure away debt and dethrone bankers. The IMF's plan to conjure away debt and dethrone bankers. So there is a magic wand after all. A revolutionary paper by the International Monetary Fund claims that one could eliminate the net public debt of the US at a stroke, and by implication do the same for Britain, Germany, Italy, Japan, and most everywhere. By Ambrose Evans Pritchard. One could slash private debt by 100% of GDP, boost growth, stabilise prices and dethrone bankers all at the same time. It could be done cleanly and painlessly by legislative command, far more quickly than anyone imagined. The conjuring trick is to replace our system of private bank-created money, roughly 97% of the money supply, with state-created money. We return to the historical norm before Charles II placed control of the money supply in private hands with the English Free Coinage Act of 1666. Specifically, it means an assault on fractional reserve banking. If lenders are forced to put up 100% reserve backing for deposits, they lose the exorbitant privilege of creating money out of thin air. The nation regains sovereign control over the money supply. There are no more bank runs and fewer boom-bust credit cycles. Accounting legerdemain, tricky, funny business, will do the rest. That, at least, is the argument. Some readers may already have seen the IMF study by Benez and Kumhoff, which came out in August and has begun to acquire a cult following around the world. Right? So you've got the basic idea there, words that we've used before. So I'll go to the third and final is that IMF paper by those two, Benz and Kumhoff or something. And as you do with tricky papers like this, you go scroll straight through it, through all the algebra and stuff, and there was plenty of that in there, to conclusion. And the conclusion, I'll just read you one paragraph and the start of the next paragraph. So, in conclusion, in this IMF paper, this paper revisits the Chicago Plan. Enough is said about the Chicago Plan. It means I don't have to explain it. A proposal for fundamental monetary reform that was put forward by many leading US economists at the height of the Great Depression. Fisher, 1936, in his brilliant summary of the Chicago Plan, claimed that it had four major advantages, ranging from greater macroeconomic stability to much lower debt levels throughout the economy. In this paper, we are able to rigorously evaluate his claims by applying the recommendations of the Chicago Plan to a state-of-the-art monetary DSGE model. That's the letdown that they've put it through a DSGE model, but there we go. That's what the most up-to-date model is, so can't get round that. That's what they use. That contain a fully micro-founded and carefully calibrated model of the current US financial system that didn't spot the crisis coming, DSGE, but okay, get on with it, Nick. The critical feature of this model is that the economy's money supply is created by banks through debt rather than being created debt-free by the government. Our analytical and simulation results fully validate Fisher's 1936 claims. The Chicago Plan would significantly reduce business cycle volatility caused by rapid changes in banks' attitude towards credit risk. It would eliminate bank runs, and it would lead to an instantaneous and large reduction in the levels of both government and private debt. And the conclusion goes on if you want to follow it. What I'm doing here in Ideas 3, I think this will be called, is jumping to the future and showing we are where we are now, as I've kind of established, or said at least. Old grumpy kits like me are in charge. We won't want to go to things like this because we haven't got the balls to do it, basically. People, the Fed are probably the most dynamic central bank out there because they're the biggest and boldest. But central banks, other central banks around the world just will only follow what the Fed does. They will not have what it takes to do bold moves like this. And I suspect that what they're going to do is sit on their little balls at the moment and do not much else. They think that they've done an awful lot, and I think they're going to let the economy go down a bit until the government, basically, or the people start clamouring for them to do more, and then they might do more. But then they will only do a bit more of the same. They'll edge towards helicopter drops, and they might even try helicopter drops before they try. They would have to be dragged kicking and screaming into this. Basically, they would have to be thrown out of their jobs. Central banks will not go for this. So it's going to be a long, drawn-out affair. But hopefully from that presentation you can see that there are many people that can see that the private bank money creation out of thin air is not a respected system out there. And there are many people that since the Great Depression have been looking at it and thinking, this is no way to be going on, but obviously have been quiet in between for 80, being kept quiet for 80 years because it looked like it had worked. But from the Great Depression, now it's come on again and it's shown what a bad system it is. But actually to look at it again will take an awful lot of hardship for you. So that's what we've got to look forward to. So that is a few possible futures. I think it's going to be a slow grind. That's it. Slow grind. Bye.